Florence biography. Florence Nightingale, she was the founder of modern nursing. She was born on May 12, 1820, in Florence, Grand Duchy of Tuscany, Italy. Her father's name was William Nightingale, and mother's name was Frances Nightingale. She had one sister. Florence was born into a rich, well-connected British family. Florence was raised at Leyhurst, where she received classical education, included German, Italian, and French. At the age of 16, Florence had a very keen interest in philanthropy and caring for the sick. That time, nursing was looked down upon by the society at that time. After much opposition, Florence decided to enter the field in 1844. She enrolled herself as a student at the Lutheran Hospital of Pastor Fieldner in Kaiserwerth, Germany. She then worked hard to educate herself in the art and science of nursing. After visiting Egypt and Paris, she realized that disciplined and well-connected nuns or sisters made better nurses than women in England. In 1853, she was appointed superintendent of the hospital for invalid gentlewomen. At the time of the Crimean War, around 18,000 soldiers were injured and admitted into military hospitals. Nightingale received a letter from Secretary of War. Sidney Herbert requested to help the injured. She assembled a team of more than 30 nurses and sailed to Crimea immediately. There, the condition of the soldiers there was much worse than expected. The soldiers were in a horrible state due to the lack of proper sanitation and unhygienic surroundings. The medicine supply was not sufficient. Nightingale quickly got to work and tried to lower the death rate. The war was over by March 1856. An estimated 94,000 men were sent to the war front, out of which almost 4,000 died of battle wounds. 19,000 died of diseases and 13,000 were invalidated out of the army. Florence returned to England as a national hero, but she was deeply shocked by the mass death that took place right before her eyes because of poor sanitation.
Therefore, she was determined to begin a campaign that would improve the quality of nursing in military hospital. She started investigating the royal campaign of the health on the army and the reformation of the Army Medical College. In 1855, the Nightingale Fund was set up to open up training school of nurses. By 1860, the Nightingale School and Home for of Nurses was established at St. Thomas Hospital. She could not be the superintendent because of her criminal paper, but she closely watched the progress of the situation. When the Indian Mutiny broke up in 1857, she wished to come to India and help improve the sanitation facilities. Even though she could not never come, she played an instrumental role in getting a sanitary department established by the Indian government. She closed to remain as painter as she believed marriage could hamper her, calling she had a relationship with a politician and poet. Richard Monckton Milnes that tested for the 9 years but not marriage. She was very good friends with Sidney Herbert, Secretary of War, and had a deep relationship with Benjamin Jowett, who wanted to marry her. She was awarded the Royal Red Cross by Queen Victoria in 1833. In 1910, she was awarded the Badge of Honor of the Norwegian Red Cross Society. International Nurses Day is celebrated every year on her birthday. She died peacefully at the age of 90 in South Street Park, London on 13 August 1910.
Her theory is about environmental theory. Florence Nightingale environmental theory defined nursing as the act of utilizing the patient environment to assist him or her in his recovery. Nightingale providing care to wounded and ill soldiers during the Crimean War. It involves the nurse's initiative to configure environmental settings appropriate for the gradual restoration of the patient's health and that external factors associated with the patient's surrounding effect. the life or biologic and physiologic processes in his development. Florence Nightingale environmental theory is based on 5 points, which she believes to be essential to obtain a healthy home, such as clean home, clean water and air, basic sanitation, cleanliness, and light, as she believed that a healthy environment was fundamental for healing. Importance of Nightingale theory, because Nightingale's modern nursing theory is also impact nursing education. She was the first to suggest that nurses be specifically educated and trained for their positions in healthcare. This allowed her to be standard of care in the field of nursing, which helped improve overall care of patients. And she put her nurses to work sanitizing the wards and bathing and clothing patients. Nightingale addressed the more basic problems of providing decent food and water, ventilating the wards, and curbing rampant corruption that was decimating medical supplies. Florence Nightingale is the most recognized name in the field of nursing. Her work was instrumental for developing modern nursing practice. And from her first shift, she worked to ensure patients in her care had what they needed to get healthy. Her environmental theory changed the face of nursing to create sanitary conditions for patients to get care. Florence Nightingale is attributed with established the modern practice of nursing. She also contributed to the field with nursing theories still used today. And one of her nursing theory is the environmental theory, which incorporates the patient's surrounding environment in his or her nursing care plan in this theory. The role of the nurse is to use the patient environment to help him or her recover and get back to the usual environment. The reason the patient's environment is important is because it can affect his or her health in a positive or negative way. Some environmental factors affecting health according to Nightingale theories are fresh air, pure water, sufficient food and appropriate nutrition, efficient drainage, cleanliness and light, or direct sunlight. If any of these factors is lacking, it can delay the patient recovery. Nightingale also emphasized providing a quiet, warm environment for a patient to recover in. The theory also calls for nurses to assist a patient's dietary needs, document food intake times, and evaluate how the patient diet affects his or her health and recovery. What is meta-paradigm? A meta-paradigm is a set of theories or ideas that provide structure for how a discipline should function. For a nursing discipline, these theories consist of 4 basic concepts that address the patient as a whole, the patient's health and well-being, the patient's environment, and the nursing responsibilities. And there are 4 major concepts are frequently interrelated and fundamental to nursing theory, which is first, person, environment, health, and nursing. These 4 are collectively referred to as meta-paradigm for nursing. And I will explain further what first is environment. The environment plays a very large and significant role in maintaining health and promoting recovery from illness. There exist 5 environmental components which are all essential to an individual's health. These are known collectively as the health of houses and outline factors of the physical environment which must receive attention. The underlying principle of maintaining health of houses is to put the patient in a condition which is best for nature to act upon him or her. An environment that promotes health allows the patient to retain their energy or vital powers for use toward self-healing. Second is person. In Florence Nightingale theory, the person, one of the elements in the 4 meta-paradigm, is the individual receiving care. Nightingale's perception of the person is that the person is a multi-dimensional being that includes biological and physiological, social, and spiritual components. The biological component is addressed by the use of medicine and nursing to address various diseases. And third is health. Health is viewed as the combined result of environmental, psychological, and physical factors, not just the absence of disease. Nightingale states that health is not only to be real, but to be able to use every power we have. This is consistent with our perception of health today, where one does not have to be diseased, free to be healthy, but to maximize their potential to be in a healthy state. And also state that we know nothing of the principle of health, the positive of which pathology is the negative, except from the observation and experience. And lastly, nursing. Nightingale view nursing is one that is largely intertwined by factors pertaining to the environment. The goal of nursing is strictly different from that of medicine, as the goal of the former is to place the patient in the best possible condition for nursing to act, or to facilitate a healing process by placing the patient in the best possible environment for nature to influence health. Nightingale believed that many of the symptoms and sufferings of patients were not directly related to their disease or ailment, but rather consequences of poor environmental conditions. The duty of nursing includes providing essentials such as fresh water, warmth, light, cleanliness, quiet, and a proper diet by helping to control environmental influences. Nurses can aid in the maintenance of health of their patients. Only then is it possible to see the true elements of a disease, and not just the effect, the absence of essentials.
Ano nangyari sa'yo? Tulungan niyo po ako! Habang tumatagal, feeling ko mas lalo akong nabubulo dito. Kasi diba yan, kunduhan tayo dito. Itong tubis yung kanina. Tapos sabi ko, good morning, DJ6.
Gusto niyo po isa lang
Pero kaya habang tumatagal pa siya, buti na naman ba? Tsaka tumawag pa siya ng maintenance. Turuan pa paano mag-ano.
Yan, okay. Thank you po.
Hi, Ma'am.
morning. Kamusta po pakiramdam niyo?
Medyo okay na po, nurse. Pero medyo masakit po yung mga sugat ko.
Ipagpahinga niyo po muna yan para hindi masyadong hindi masyadong sumakit yung yung sugat niyo. Huwag kayong magkagalaw-galaw, ha? Saan yung mga kasama mo?
Mama ko po kasi busy, tapos yung mga kapatid ko po ay nag-aaral po.
Ganun po ba? Gusto niyo po dito lang muna ako? Okay, sige po. Alam niyo ma'am, ilang days na lang ma-discharge na rin kayo dito kaya kahit lang ng marami, tas inom lang ng gamot ma'am, kaya niyo yan. I'm sure gusto mo na rin umuwi, no? Kaya pagaling ka, huwag masyadong matigas ang ulo ma'am. Tas take your meds ha, tapos matulog ka ng maayos. Okay?
Opo, nurse. Salamat po.
Wala naman. Pahinga ka na po. Hi ma'am, good morning. Ito ba yung pagkain niyo ma'am? Upo kayo, ma'am. Ma'am, gusto niyo po magbasa ng libro? Teka po. Gusto niyo po bang makinig ng music? Pampawala po yan ng stress.
Opo, nurse. Thank you po.
Sige po. Bye ma'am, ingat po. Bye.
The 5 stages of deliberative of nursing process. Assessment. Assessment is the first step and involves critical thinking skill and data collection. Subjective and objective. Subjective data involves verbal statement from the patient or a caregiver. Objective data is measurable, tangible data such as vital sign, intake and output, and height and weight. An RN uses a systematic, dynamic way to collect and analyze data about the client. The first step in delivering nursing care. Assessment includes not only physiological data, but also in psychological, socio-cultural, spiritual, economic, and lifestyle factors as well. And the next is diagnosis. The nursing diagnosis is the nursing clinical judgment about the client response to actual or potential health condition or needs. The diagnosis reflects not only the patient is in pain, but the pain has caused other problems such as anxiety, poor nutrition, or has the potential to cause complications. For an example, respiratory infection is a potential hazard to an immobilized patient. The diagnosis is the basis for the nurse's care plan. The next is the planning. Based on the assessment and the diagnosis, the nurse sets measurable and achievable short and long-range goal for this patient that might include moving from bed to chair at least 3 times per day, maintaining adequate nutrition by eating smaller, more frequent meals, resolving patient conflict through counseling, or managing pain through adequate medication. Assessment data, diagnosis, and goals are written in the care plan so that the nurse as well as other health professionals caring for the patient have access to it.
Implementation. Nursing care is implemented according to the care plan. So continuity of care for the patient during hospitalization and in preparation of discharge need to be assured. Care is documented in the patient's record. Evaluation. Both the patient's status and the effectiveness of the nursing care must be continuously evaluated, and the care plans modified as needed. The nurse look at the patient's progress towards the goals set in the nursing care plan. Changes can be made the nursing care plan based on how well or poorly the patient is progressing towards the goals. If any new problems are identified in the evaluation stage, they can be addressed and the process starts over again for two specific problems.
Acceptance by nursing community. Practice. The environmental aspect remains a significant component of current nursing care until today. As the global society encounters new issues of disease control, they still use Nightingale's concept, like for instance, sanitation, water treatment, good ventilation, lighting, proper disposal of waste, noise elimination, and control of room temperature help in patient recovery. Research. Her expertise in scientific inquiry and statistics continue to define and assess nursing research. She was remarkable in data gathering and analysis. She graphically represents data in the polar diagrams. Her empirical approach to deal with healthcare delivery problems is evident in her writing. Her concepts have served as the basis for current researches, which add to the modern nursing all over the world.
Education. In academe, her principles develop a universal pattern for early nurse training school beginning with Santo Tomas Hospital and King's College Hospital in London. Because of her models, 3 experimental schools were established in the US. She firmly considered that better practice could result only from better education, but the measurement of the art of nursing could not be accomplished through examination. That's why she used testing methods, including case studies for nursing trainees at St. Thomas Hospital.